there are a host of very good players in the league whose cards I think are really undervalued.
They're low in market, sells like crazy right now.
Yeah, so don't be afraid. I can't believe I'm saying this because in the past I would never say you should dabble into the WNBA, but I do think it is a largely untapped market that's going to continue to grow.
Two things I want to say.
If you're going to invest in something, you have to fully do it. And I think for so many years, people were half investing. And so now we're able to see, like, yes, the players rose to the moment. You look at Caitlin Clark putting up 40. You look at Angel Reese and her double-double.
While fans were arguing about ratings, rivalries, and league politics, something far more shaking is happening behind the scenes. The collectibles market has made a decision, and guess who this revolves around? Caitlin Clark, A'ja Wilson, and Aaliyah Boston. For the first time in forever, the WNBA trading cards have grown 3 times faster than NBA cards. Not in theory, not in projections, but in real time. Real money and real demand. Right now, the whole discussion isn't about who plays better basketball, the WNBA or the NBA. For the Frost time, the focus is on where fans, attention, culture, and belief are moving. And if you think trading cards don't matter, stay with me because this development is so much bigger than the players involved.
Are we catching the peak or are we catching at near the floor of what it can become? Me personally, and again, this is not investment advice, but the way I like to do stuff is, Caitlin Clark is by far the most expensive, the highest selling WNBA player. What I think that's going to do is, opposed to her, she may come down a little bit, but what I think we're going to see is as more people come into that market because of Caitlin, Miss Clark, however you want me to address you, Caitlin, big time watcher of the pod. Love you, Caitlin. You're amazing. I think you're going to see more people come in for that, but then they're going to start looking across and being like, oh, this A'ja, she's great. Or this Beckers, she's great. Or Nafisa Collier, she's great.
While fans and media were busy debating ratings and rivalries, something quieter was happening in the background. The trading card market was sending a signal. On the live commerce platform Whatnot, WNBA trading cards grew 3 times faster than NBA cards in 2025. Not slightly faster, 3 times faster. Search volume for WNBA cards jumped by 1,670% in a single year. Autographed WNBA items grew by more than 1,000%. And Atlanta became the fastest growing market for WNBA cards, with activity rising by 7,300%. These are not casual numbers. And if those numbers shocked you, hit subscribe, because the implications only get bigger from here.
To whatever. So if you're going to invest in something, you have to fully do it. And I think for so many years, people were half investing. And so now we're able to see, like, yes, the players rose to the moment. You look at Caitlin Clark putting up 40. You look at Angel Reese and her double-double. You look at the moments outside of it. And that's the thing. Like, women, we're more than just athletes. It's about fashion. It's about personality. It's about brands. It's about social media. And we're seeing that now. And it can't be denied because the social media numbers and the television numbers and the ratings, I mean, all that is proof that it's here to stay. It just has to be invested in the right way.
Trading cards are not like highlights or social media clips. People do not buy them on impulse. Collectors spend time studying players. They spend real money. They think years ahead. When people invest in cards, they are making a bet on relevance and future value. They are saying this player will matter later, not just today. That is why this matters.
I'm going to get in and start watching because of them. And then they now have story and the culture's following them even more because of that. You see this spider web from like Michael Jordan did this in the 90s. He took basketball global. Bird and Magic saved it. They made it popular again in America, or popular on a wider scale in America. And then you saw Jordan come in and make it worldwide. Dream Team, all that. He made it a worldwide phenomenon, and now people all across the country love basketball because of Michael Jordan. But LeBron cards sell well. Steph sell well. Like, other players have risen up in that echelon. Like a Luka rookie sold for, I want to say, more than the highest selling Jordan card, hasn't it?
For the first time in modern basketball history, the growth curve is not leaning toward the NBA. It is leaning toward the WNBA. And markets rarely make that kind of move by accident. Highlights show what people enjoy. Trading cards show what people believe in. There is a difference. Cards represent ownership, not just viewership. When someone buys a card, they're not just watching a moment. They're claiming a piece of a future story.
There are a host of very good players in the league whose cards I think are really undervalued.
They're low in market, sells like crazy right now.
Yeah. So don't be afraid. I can't believe I'm saying this because in the past I would never say you should dabble into the WNBA, but I do think it is a largely untapped market that's going to continue to grow.
Two things I want to say.
The NBA card market is strong, but it is also mature. Most collectors already know the legends. The prices are established. The upside is slower. That is what happens when a market is full. Growth becomes steady instead of explosive. The WNBA card market is the opposite. It is early. It is fresh. It feels undiscovered. That is exactly where collectors like to be.
We have a blueprint. We're fortunate to have a blueprint. And the NBA took 30 years to really establish itself as a league. Same thing with MLB, NFL. So we're right at the 28-year mark, right? Where we're going to inspire the next generation to even want to play basketball. College is going to aspire to play. But in the WNBA, we have, 12 teams. And the expansion now is going to go to 14 in the next 2 years. And so to me, I'm a little nervous that it's the star power, because as we know, even looking at the NBA, it's really tough to carry a franchise.
History shows this pattern clearly. Michael Jordan cards rose before the world called him the greatest. Kobe Bryant cards surged before his legacy was complete. LeBron James cards exploded before championships defined him. In each case, the market moved first. Public opinion followed later. Right now, collectors are acting the same way with WNBA players. They are buying as if these athletes are entering their early legend phase. That behavior tells a story long before headlines do. Hit like if you have noticed WNBA content showing up everywhere lately. One of the most important details in this story is that it does not belong to just one player. Markets are allergic to single-point dependency. If growth rests on one name, it is fragile. What makes the current WNBA card boom different is how many players are rising at the same time.
It's really tough to find your franchise player. And in the WNBA, we have a lot of players that are capable of making rosters. I don't know if you have a lot of players that are capable right now of carrying franchises.
So that argues against expansion too quickly.
To me, I think we expand, but we expand roster. We still have 11 or 12 players on the roster. So guess what? If somebody twists their ankle on the road and somebody else is sick, you only have 10 players in practice. And you're playing against practice players, which is great, but when you're on the road, the practice players aren't traveling with you. So that the NBA established the G League. And to me, I feel like we need those 8, 9, 10 players to get better.
On Whatnot in 2025, Caitlin Clark leads overall search growth, but she is not alone. Paige Buchers saw her card searches rise by more than 500%. Cameron Brink climbed over 300%. Aaliyah Boston and Aja Wilson both passed 200% growth. That spread matters. It shows that collectors are not chasing one moment or one personality. They are buying into a generation. This is how leagues quietly overtake others. Not with a single icon carrying the entire weight, but with multiple faces that feel investable at the same time. Fans can choose favorites. Collectors can diversify. Media narratives can rotate without collapsing interest. When several players rise together, it signals ecosystem growth. It says the league is deeper, the story is wider, the future feels safer. That is when long-term confidence forms. And confidence is what turns a niche market into a dominant one. Then came the number that forced everyone to pay attention. A Caitlin Clark rookie card sold for $660,000. It became the most expensive women's sports card ever sold. Not by a small margin. It more than doubled the previous record.
Was the Luka rookie $2 million? Correct in the comments. It was around there, within $1 million of Jordan, and he's never won a championship. It's because this culture, this story, this narrative have followed these players. And I have loved watching this happen in the WNBA. And I personally am really excited and hope it keeps going because I think it's been a really fun thing. And there's proof of concept right now because that's what people bought. Over a 2-week time span, that's all that I sold. And it wasn't like I priced those actually a little higher thinking that market would go up. And it is. That market, because it is newer and rising, I think you're going to see more people take a chance on it because they think that it's not at the peak, it's on the rise.
This was not a celebrity stunt or a charity auction. It was a serious collector making a serious bet. That kind of money does not chase headlines. It chases future relevance. The buyer was not paying for what Clark has already done. They were paying for what they believe she will represent years from now. Collectors understand something important. You do not buy at the top if you want value. You buy before consensus forms, before everyone agrees, before the story feels obvious. That is what makes this sale so revealing. It suggests that, in the eyes of the market, women's basketball is still early in its value curve. And if one card can reach that level now, it raises a bigger question about where the entire market could go next. Type cards in the comments if you have ever collected or thought about it.
It might shock many to know that probably the best prospect that you could have been buying over the last 18 months to 2 years is Caitlin Clark, a women's basketball player. I don't think that was on too many people's bingo card going back a couple of years in our hobby. Before I dive in, huge thanks to today's video sponsor, Pristine Auction. Daily auctions, weekly auctions, elite, every 30-day auctions, as well as 10-minute auctions, and there's live auctions as well. Everything is on Pristine, whether it's sports cards, pop culture, all sorts of amazing stuff. Take $10 off your first auction win at Pristine with my promo code down below.
Once the demand for cards became impossible to ignore, the industry responded. This is where speculation turns into confirmation. Panini and the WNBPA signed what has been widely reported as the most lucrative licensing deal in women's sports history. That deal did not just expand one product line, it opened the door to more physical cards, more digital releases, more autographs, and more in-person marketing events tied to WNBA players. Companies like Panini do not scale production because something feels popular online. They scale because forecasts justify it. Licensing deals are built on projections, not emotions. When a company commits more resources, more inventory, and more promotion, it means they expect sustained demand, not a short spike.
Before we go any further, full disclaimer, I might be buying these cards at the top. These cards might be way overpriced and I'm buying into the FOMO and the hype and all that sort of a thing. So I'm not here to say, oh, everybody should rush out and buy Caitlin Clark cards. That's not what I'm saying at all. All I'm doing is documenting my journey, explaining the why behind I bought into. I'm going to show a couple of cards here that I bought recently, explain why that is. And again, if you agree with me, great. If you don't agree with me, that's okay too.
This is where the timing matters. Licensing cycles usually trail real demand by 1 to 2 years. What we are seeing now reflects what corporations believe will dominate attention next, not what already peaked. In other words, the industry is positioning itself ahead of 2026, not reacting late to 2024. When corporate money moves quietly but decisively, it often signals where culture is heading next. Now, this is not a story about the NBA failing. It is a story about the NBA stabilizing. NBA cards are still valuable. The league still commands massive attention, but growth has slowed. That is what happens in mature markets. Most fans already know the stars. Most collectors already own the legends. The space feels familiar. Saturation brings repetition. Repetition brings fatigue. For younger fans especially, there are fewer new entry points that feel personal or fresh. The NBA is everywhere, which also means it no longer feels discovered. That is not collapse, that is plateau.
Well, we'll see if it's the end of the dynasty. What we set out to do was create a level playing field in terms of competition, but not necessarily to have a different champion every year. Yeah. So I think that'll be determined on the floor. I don't think OKC, I'm going out there tonight, I don't think they think it's the end of the dynasty. Yeah. I think they may even be a preseason favorite. So what we wanted to happen, I mean, in the NFL, they have a similar system. You still have dynasties. So it's not, the goal is to have fair competition every night.
At the same time, the WNBA represents something different. It feels new. It feels identity-driven. Fans are not just watching players. They are aligning with stories, values, and moments that feel current. That mix is powerful in collector culture. Discovery plus identity plus momentum is exactly what drives explosive growth. Stabilized markets preserve value. Emerging markets create it. That contrast explains why collectors are shifting attention without needing to abandon the NBA at all. Do you think the NBA has peaked culturally? Comment yes or no. This generation does not just watch games. They collect, they resell, they share, they turn players into culture. Add to that a wave of stars entering their primes at the same time. Not one face, but many. And the foundation starts to look different. Corporate licensing is already scaling ahead of the moment, not behind it. That suggests belief in what comes next, not what already passed.
If you go out and want to buy Caitlin Clark cards, okay, I don't care either way. I'm planning on buying more, so if I do have any sort of influence on people to buy them, it doesn't help me at all because I'm trying to buy more of these. And so know that going in. Don't buy Caitlin Clark cards. Do not do it. All right, so up until recently, we mainly had the first Bowman type stuff. You know, we had the college cards. We had the Iowa cards, which sold very, very well. We're going to talk about Caitlin Clark as a player in just a couple minutes, but I want to first talk about the set that I've been buying. I don't own any of her college cards. So we had Select Basketball come out in, was it October? Came out just a couple of months ago. Select WNBA, first year Select.
Overtaking does not mean the NBA disappears or loses relevance. It means the direction of growth changes. It means where culture feels alive, where value is forming, and where the next generation is placing its attention. 2026 may be the year the WNBA stops being described as the future and starts being treated as the present. If history remembers impact, markets remember timing. And right now, the timing points in one direction. The center of gravity in basketball culture has always shifted slowly. Then suddenly, for years, people asked when women's basketball would arrive. The more interesting question now is what if it's already arrived? Kindly drop your takes in the comments below, and don't forget to hit like and subscribe for more.